Good evening. I'm Ayana Miller, and I have asked Ms. Demetria Smith to come and discuss with me the history of curriculum as it relates to middle grades. I'm elementary, she's middle school, and so she teaches what grade?
Sixth grade language arts.
Sixth grade language arts, which I am very interested in hearing about because I don't know much about middle school. Ask me about first grade, and I can tell you any and everything about it, but sixth grade, I don't know much. So I am very interested in hearing what she has to say. And again, thank you for taking the time out to answer my questions. I know your time is precious, so I hope to not keep you long. So we'll go ahead and begin. What do you see as the most significant historical events impacting the curriculum in your subject area?
I would have to say, it definitely goes under that category of technology, maybe even down to, the invention of the microchip, of, your basic PC. Just to say, because I think prior to that, with typewriters and having to really research things by hand, and even down to the media center, just everything so kind of hands-on. I mean, like, real traditional hands-on, where you really had to know how to cite something, you really had to know how to do so many things and how to use these things hands-on. And so with the computer being invented, you can hold all this data, you can organize things so quickly. That it just really changed the way we came up with our curriculum, the way we did professional development, like everything dealing with curriculum and teaching children really, to me, just kind of changed. Seems like overnight. And it continues to change every night, by the way, with the way technology changes so much. So I would definitely have to say, just the invention of, the computer, being able to hold that type of data in one location has made a very big impact on what we do as educators every day.
And as you say that, I think about, even for myself, typing papers and using my phone for text messaging, everything is autocorrect, and if you make a mistake, it instantly, the red line lets you know that, okay, you need to fix it, and then you don't even have to know what you need to do to fix it. You just right click and insert the new word.
And that's so true. And I think that even with that historical piece is that the little things that still matter now mattered then, but you really had to own it. You really had to know what you're doing and to apply that. And it was a very watchful eye on everything that you did. And now with the curriculum being so impacted with that it's true enough for maybe answering more rigorous questions, maybe doing more of this higher level thinking. But it's so sad because the kids struggle with that high level thinking, and yet if you try to bring it back to the basics, they're lost because that's no longer in the curriculum because of the advancements in technology. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. How do you view your role related to the creation, revision, implementation, and assessment of the curricular process?
My immediate role, I think, is to be the person that implements it and, that gives out the assessments. But I truly believe that my role should be, as an educator, to be that person that is creating these, the curriculum, that we go back together and really make revisions to it based on what we see in the classroom across the district, and that then we go back and we implement, just like you did in the old days. People didn't just prepare the food for you. You went out there, you farmed, but you had an appreciation for it, you owned it, you understood it, and so then therefore you can even tell when things were changing with the seasons because you were in there, you were out there in the field. So I think the same thing with curriculum, where it shouldn't be, and I think that's where you see a lot of disconnect with the students and the teachers because we don't get a chance to really own that curriculum, and that should be the role that we play. But unfortunately, it is the role of you give it to me, I have to implement it, and if I decide to get a little beside myself and do what I want to do with it anyway to help my students, I might get a little red tape, or a little red ink, but it might be worth it in the long run. But yeah, our current role is just to implement and to give assessments and turn that data into someone who's probably not going to use it or benefit that much from it. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, that we aren't able to really be in the creative process of it because, as you say, because then we would take more ownership and we could really, get into it and meet the needs of our students and just be a part of it, because then you'll take pride in it, just like with anything. If you're creating it, then you're prideful and you're excited about it. And if you're just given something, then you're just like, okay, here it is, do it. Then, it kind of takes the work out of it for the teacher, and they just aren't as excited and interested.
And I will say that even when we came down with Common Core and they were saying that, we're going to have this really awesome curriculum and, questions came about, can we be flexible with it? Can we bring in our own resources, that? And they were like, yeah, this is the goal of Common Core, that you teach to those, not to the standards, but you have the set of standards. If you want to use your own resources, you want to pull in different things, you can do that as long as the kid can master the standard. And when we come in, we can see this very clear that you understand the standard and how to implement it. I'm really excited. And then when it came down to getting the chance to create the curriculum, you learn that what you have, that base unit that you're working with, came from someone else. And our goal was to simply revise and tweak it and then put our name on it and send it out to our teachers, and the cycle continues. But and don't get me wrong, a lot of things in there, that I guess the state may have created, or not exactly sure, the powers that be, a lot of it was good. But again, we are educators who go to school to do what we do. I think we're smart enough to pull certain resources to teach that standard. So I know people say it as a guide, but everything is really kind of based around that curriculum that someone else made, and it should be that we have more hands-on, in that, so that we really would take more ownership. I'm going to do it because that's who I am, but what about the teacher who gets truly disconnected when they can't be a part of that process, and yet they have to understand it enough to teach it and have that child really, understand what's going on. It makes it really hard for some people. You can't put everybody in that same area. So maybe we'll see how that goes. But yeah, interesting question.
Yes. Next, what do you see as the greatest hindrance to being able to effectively deliver the curriculum?
If anybody from the state probably hears it, they'd be very upset with me. But I think that it is the powers that be in the very highest, the highest levels of education, because I truly believe there is a disconnect, a big disconnect. I say that because, for one, time is the enemy of all living things, It is going to fight against you, and the goal is to beat you one day, and we all know that is probably going to happen. We're not there yet. We can defy death, but at the same time, outside of time, for those that are trying to make every single moment count, every minute count, you still need people that can make those changes to help those teachers in the classroom to kind of step up and be more engaged, be more connected with what's going on in this new world of technology and trying to compete globally. It shouldn't be that they're still sitting up there in those areas treating us as if this is 1945, because it isn't. And so I think that our lawmakers, people that make the policies, I think honestly that and it might even be, I'm not on that level yet, and that is my goal to get there, because I would like to see some changes take place. But I am wondering, the powers that be, those that really make those changes for us, so that can be that voice for us, what are they saying, or why is it that they cannot make the necessary changes to help us at this level? Not just teachers, but administrators too, where wouldn't mind being an administrator, but sometimes I worry about the fact, will I be a puppet? Will I be the person that's going to have to continue to make teachers feel the same way they've been feeling for decades and decades, when all they want to do is be really good teachers, connect with their students, and send them out, able to, to function in our society, but yet they can't, because this isn't the business of teaching. It is, a business, a corporation, you might say, of paperwork and policies, and I don't know, this isn't a judicial system. We should be focusing on just teaching our students, and we don't get that. So I think the hindrance, the biggest one, deals with policymakers, and really getting those things to be pushed throughout, and to change that, I don't want to say the status quo, but maybe a paradigm shift in education in general. Because you want everything else to change. You want everything else to shift, and yet the hindrance, the one that can make these things really move smoothly and for us to really see the big impact, they refuse to shift or to change their point of view. And I think once we see that, we can really see some changes in not just the curriculum, because it's inanimate, it's just this piece of paper that's here, but you will start to see that curriculum really manifest itself throughout our students as they become older, they graduate, they want to do things in a society, and hopefully bring some of that back to the school building, show some love, hey, I graduated from so-and-so, and we want to get that. But the powers that be, they really have to kind of come down here in the field, get in the the trenches almost, and see what's really going on, so they can make the changes that we need to move forward, versus to continue to be held back. Because you hold administrators back, that means you hold teachers back, therefore holding students, parents, people in the society, in the community. We stay, on lockdown almost, and you won't see any growth. And that's a pretty sad place to be, when our goal is to teach and to grow, our students. So
yeah, teaching definitely is not what it was even 10 years ago.
Yes.
It's not the same. What do you see as the greatest asset to the current curriculum model?
Greatest asset to the model. I don't mean to be quiet on purpose, because I do like the curriculum. Okay, so you know, I do like that, but oh, the biggest asset. It's not one that you're going to see right now, but I do think as we continue to roll out, you know, our standards, as we continue to move students from one grade level to the next, and I'm saying that because the truth of the matter is we can't change those kids that are already in the system that you know, they're not under Common Core. They were not under Common Core for many years. They're probably seniors and sophomores, and this isn't the way they're going to look back on their childhood or in their education and see that, okay, Common Core is not a part of my upbringing, quote unquote. But for those students where, you know, they're in first grade now, second grade, I think as we see them, you know, go to third grade and fourth grade in middle school and high school, they will really be able to see that the way it's set up with the level of rigor, with the new standards, how they kind of echo across grade levels. There is like spiral, I think, in a way where it's a little bit at a time, and you know, it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. I think that is just excellent. The thought process behind the Common Core. That's why I say I really do enjoy the curriculum. I really love it. The only downfall with that is just that we won't see the bang for our buck, not for a while. But I think as you know, kids move out of the system that that were not under Common Core, that we'll really see that for once we'll really see that what we're implementing may actually be more of a benefit to our students with critical thinking and being able to socially engage on different levels. That it's not just handouts, it's not just you know, repetition, that kind of thing, but it's really forcing them to take real life situations, analyze them across the contents, and come up with really great and engaging ideas, which is what you kind of want them to do when they get out of high school. So, and I do see that with my students, even today, we've been working on a particular assignment for them, really about 2 weeks seems like, but today they got a chance to present it. But it was really good to kind of hear them speaking, and this part that goes with that curriculum, hear them actually speaking, writing, working together, you know, really having to decide on their own. I kind of was a true facilitator today with who's going to lead, who's going to, you know, speak about the view of Anne Frank, who's going to deal with the citing the evidence, you know, who is going to elaborate, you know, using these terms and bringing in the standards. And they did really well with it. So I think in their sixth grade, you know, so they're not under Common Core all of their life. But I think even with them, when you see them come out of high school, that you'll really be able to see the biggest benefit of the curriculum, where it really made them more engaged and more prepared to think and answer to all men. You know, that is the goal.
Well, that would mean that we would have to keep this curriculum at least for your sixth graders for another 6 years.
Yes, and now if they do that, my goodness, you're right. We'll be able to really see something. Quit changing up everything. You know, Congress or whoever those powers will be. You know, leave us alone and let us kind of do what we have and master it, and you'll really see, you know, the biggest bang for you know, for your buck, and you know, just changing some of those policies, even if it's one of those things where it's like, look, we're not going to rush to do everything. You know, a wise old man once told me, you know, you young folks shall always rush to get somewhere. Slow down. You know, because when you get there, you're not going to want to be there. Just relax, and it makes a big difference when you can enjoy the moment. You know, stay at a steady pace and really see the development of something take place. When you're rushing, we're moving so fast with our pacing guide and moving kids from sixth grade content, moving that content to third grade and moving the third grade content to kindergarten. You're not going to see the development of the child or the curriculum really manifest itself unless we really just take the time to slow down and let them enjoy it, the teachers enjoy it, because it's not that the curriculum isn't good. It's those powers that be that want to continue to rush things and don't mess up a good thing. State, you finally got it, you know, you got it right. It's really good and we enjoy it, but let us back up a little bit and let us just teach and do our job with this. And you will see those students who right now may be a little shy about speaking in front of the camera. They'll be wanting to say, hey, when are we going to present next time? And that's the type of people we want to really see. We need those individuals out in the front of our community, and we're working on it. Feeling pretty good about it.
That's great. Where do you see the curriculum for your subject area in the next 10 years? I'm
kind of going on what, you know, we were just, you know, discussing that if they keep the curriculum, if they really just keep the curriculum, I mean, you know, of course, we may have to tailor with new things that come up in the present day time because we want to be globally competitive. But if we keep the curriculum, slow down the pace, that in 10 years, you will see great things come out of not just Lake County, but counties throughout, you know, America, you'll really see some true competition, okay? Not a blowout. I think you'll see that, but if we don't, then I think you're going to see a lot of parents complaining. The dropout rate will not change. The burnout rate of teachers will not change. And it'll be just a vicious cycle that Common Core wouldn't have fixed. It'll be just like America's Chores. It'll be just like anything else we've done, because a lot of times it wasn't so much the curriculum that was implemented. I think it was just the rush, the wanting so quick to race to the top. Quite frankly, it's not about getting to the top. If you get there, you cannot articulate your ideas and speak on all of that greatness that you flew through, by the way, to get there. And you get there, it would be nice to be able to speak on that and feel good about your position there, because you understand and you kind of understood the process of getting there in that matter, like taking part of the journey. That we need to be able to do that. But in 10 years, if we don't allow the kids, the teachers, the administrators to really enjoy the journey, it won't be too much to enjoy in 10 years, and it might be worse. Well, we're trying to move them forward, but we'll probably put ourselves about 20, 30 years back, because you can't fix a gap like that if you're not taking the time to slow it down and work on what you can each and every year to build somewhere to show some kind of growth. So I think if we do slow it down, you see really great things. But if we don't with this curriculum, it's too rigorous. It's too much to rush through. And maybe even, and I'm not going to sit and say I'm a big fan of looping teachers, but depending on, stipends and, giving people a little more money, you may be willing to have teachers follow their students just in order to keep that level of rigor, that kind of thing going, to be able to really maybe measure the achievement and measure the growth, that kind of thing. And, so it just depends on how we walk, how we chart our journey, really, moving forward. If we slow it down and really do pretty good pacing, we might be okay. But if not, no, we'll be just like 1945 or 1915, and it wouldn't have made a big difference, So yeah,
Okay.
that's my thoughts on the curriculum.
Thank you. Very informative, and I can honestly, I've been shaking my head and nodding in agreement with a lot of the things you've been saying. So I do appreciate you taking your time out to answer my questions, and appreciate working with you, and I look forward to working with you again soon. And we're going to call it a night. Thank you.